Silence all stand and remain standing until the conclusion of the reading of the proclamation. Ladies and gentlemen, the proclamation. All persons having any business before this honorable court now draw nigh. Give your attendance, and you shall be heard. God save the Queen.
Admission of lawyers. Abida Mustafa Ora.
May it please the court, I move that Abida Mustafa Ora is admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Abida Mustafa Ora be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Charlotte Patricia Elizabeth Barnett.
May it please the court, I move that Charlotte Patricia Elizabeth Barnett be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Charlotte Patricia Elizabeth Barnett be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Fatima Sophia Carter.
May it please the court, I move that Fatima Sophia Carter be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Fatima Sophia Carter be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Kevin Kai.
May it please the court, I move that Kevin Kai be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Kevin Kai be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Brian Matthew Yao Jian Chan.
May it please the court, I move that Brian Matthew Yaojian Chan be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Brian Matthew Yaojian Chan be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Zwale Ashley Chen.
May it please the court, I move that Zwale Ashley Chen be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Zwale Ashley Chen be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Louise Annabelle Craker.
May it please the court, I move that Louise Annabelle Craker be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Louise Annabelle Craker be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Thomas John DiMartino.
May it please the court, I move that Thomas John DiMartino be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Thomas John DiMartino be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Michael DeGraft Forson.
May it please the court, I move that Michael DeGraft Forson be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Michael DeGraff Forson be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Danielle Noemi Fuentes.
May it please the court, I move that Daniela Noemi Fuentes be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Daniela Noemi Fuentes be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Catherine Ann Garnham.
May it please the court, I move that Catherine Ann Garnham be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Catherine Ann Garnham be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Rebecca DeWercher Hadfield.
May it please the court, I move that Rebecca Duarte Hadfield be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Rebecca Duarte Hadfield be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Sita Janae Hain.
May it please the court, I move that Sita Janae Hain be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Sita Janae Hain be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Patty Huang.
May it please the court, I move that Patty Wang be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Patty Wang be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Philopatia Iskander.
May it please the court, I move that Philopatia Iskander be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Philopatia Iskander be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Catherine J. Olivia Kim.
May it please the court, I move that Catherine J. Olivia Kim be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Catherine J. Olivia Kim be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
James Matthew Kirkness.
May it please the court, I move that James Matthew Kirkness be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let James Matthew Kirkness be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Philip Colotis.
May it please the court, I move that Philip Colotis be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Philip Colotis be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Antonia Lau.
May it please the court, I move that Antonia Lau be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Antonia Lau be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Sayun Lee.
May it please the court, I move that Sayun Lee be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Sayun Lee be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Man Nok Lee.
May it please the court, I move that Man Nok Lee be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Man Nok Lee be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Paul Mead.
May it please the court, I move that Paul Mead be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Paul Mead be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Connor James Mead.
May it please the court, I move that Connor James Mead be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Connor James Mead be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Chloe Ann Clara Middleton.
May it please the court, I move that Chloe Ann Clara Middleton be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Chloe Ann Clara Middleton be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Sharisha Nampali.
May it please the court, I move that Sharisha Nampali be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Sharisha Nampali be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Imogen Zoe Pearson.
May it please the court, I move that Imogen Zoe Pearson be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Imogen Zoe Pearson be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Stephen Penzo.
May it please the court, I move that Stephen Penzo be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Stephen Penzo be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Caitlin Elizabeth Pert.
May it please the court, I move that Caitlin Elizabeth Pert be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Caitlin Elizabeth Pert be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Julia Eleonora Rashia.
May it please the court, I move that Julia Eleonora Rashia be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Julia Eleonora Rashia be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Thomas Brendan Rubik.
May it please the court, I move that Thomas Brendan Rubik be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Thomas Brendan Rubik be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Gemma Marita Simpson.
May it please the court, I move that Gemma Marita Simpson be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Gemma Marita Simpson be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Amina Sultan Bawa.
May it please the court, I move that Amina Sultan Bawa be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Amina Sultan Bawa be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Beheshta Hazrat Wasaya.
May it please the court, I move that Beheshta Hazrat Wasaya be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Beheshta Hazrat Wasaya be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Jared Nathan Wilk.
May it please the court, I move that Jared Nathan Wilk be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Jared Nathan Wilk be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Jayu Wu.
May it please the court, I move that Yu Wu be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Yu Wu be admitted as a lawyer of this court. Thank you, Registrar. Now that the formal moving of lawyers has ended, I'd like to warmly welcome you to this virtual admission ceremony at the Supreme Court of New South Wales. Present with me on the bench today to my right is Justice Baston, who is a member of the Court of Appeal, and to my left, Justice Slattery, who is a member of the Equity Division of the Court. Together we constitute the court that has, in exercise of its jurisdiction, admitted you to practice. As we gather for this celebration, physically dispersed, I would like to begin by recognising the various traditional lands on which we meet. This ceremony is streamed from the Banco Court, which is located on the land of the Gadigal people of the Eora Nation. I acknowledge these traditional custodians and pay my respects to their elders, past, present and emerging. We recognise the long-standing and enduring customs and traditions of Australia's First Nations and acknowledge with deep regret the role our legal system has played in perpetrating many injustices against Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people. To all the new lawyers watching today, welcome to the legal profession. This admission ceremony may be different to what you are expecting. These are challenging times when you are unable to be admitted in person. However, your admission, conducted remotely, reflects the agility and adaptability which you will need to possess as lawyers in an age of great change. This is a time for celebration. You've all worked extremely hard to get to this point, through caffeine-fueled nights and obscure problem questions, reading countless wafer-thin pages of textbook, and more cases than you can ever hope to remember. You have entered the world of eggshell skulls, encountered the mysterious reasonable person, and have understood the Constitution consists of so much more than the vibe of the thing. In becoming a lawyer, you have joined a centuries-old profession with ancient origins. The custom of advocates swearing an admissions oath dates back to the 12th century. This court first admitted lawyers to practice in 1824, and by 1830 the names of lawyers were entered onto rolls in this state. You have now become part of this tradition almost 200 years later. Perhaps for some of you, that is how long it feels like you've been studying. For many of you also, the support of your family and friends has no doubt been invaluable. No doubt they have from time to time been on the receiving end of your finely polished skills of argument and persuasion. I do hope you take the time to thank them today. The oath or affirmation you have made before this ceremony is a serious one and deserves solemn regard. Whether you work in private practice, at the bar, in a community legal centre, or an entirely different field, you should be known for your honesty, your integrity, and your commitment to justice. It is an acknowledgement of this weighty responsibility that we observe today's unique formalities, including the moving of lawyers and our somewhat unusual choice of fashion. I recall on one occasion some years ago, a young member of the audience asked if we were doing Santa photos after the ceremony. I was very sorry to disappoint. However, although we mark this occasion with formality and tradition, not everything in the legal profession remains unchanging. You'll be unsurprised to hear that over the past year and a half, we've had to adapt quite a bit, as you can see today. COVID-19 has meant a rapid shift to increased use of virtual courtroom setups and technology to ensure access to justice continues in the midst of a pandemic. Things don't always go smoothly, as those of me on the bench can undoubtedly attest to. There have been real difficulties to grapple with in terms of open justice, effective communication, and fairness to participants. And occasionally a lawyer might even get stuck behind a Zoom kitten filter. But for all the challenges we are facing, the impetus is greater than ever before for us to prioritise flexibility and accessibility. Better use of technology and increased working from home arrangements have profound implications for how our legal system interacts with many people, including those in rural and remote areas, those with a disability, medical conditions, or carers' responsibilities. As the newest members of the profession, you are at the forefront of innovation in the law and have a unique opportunity to see through changes so that justice is done openly and equitably. There are, of course, other changes that deserve attention. When we think of the diversity of the legal profession, we encounter the duality that we have come very far and that much still needs to be done. Though women were originally not permitted to practice, since 2018, women have made up more than half of all solicitors with a practice certificate in New South Wales and currently make up 63% of solicitors under the age of 30. Women occupy many of the most senior positions in the law, including, of course, the Chief Justice of Australia. However, women continue to face challenges of representation, including amongst judges of this court and amongst barristers in speaking roles before the High Court. On the other hand, it is heartening to see that the local Court of New South Wales has almost achieved gender parity amongst magistrates, but we must not be complacent about these issues. There are other noticeable diversity concerns that we must face head on. Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander peoples and people from diverse cultural backgrounds continue to be alarmingly underrepresented in the legal profession, and particularly within the judiciary and the ranks of senior counsel. We must also be alert to barriers to the profession from people from less privileged backgrounds. Law should not be a profession for the wealthy, and the idea that students may be dissuaded from studying law by the cost of a law degree, which this year has again increased, or because of other systemic issues, is troubling. We'll only achieve a truly diverse profession when barriers to advancement are broken down and people from different backgrounds are properly supported in a collegiate and inclusive environment free from harassment and discrimination. These issues are fundamental to a just and transparent legal system and to the legitimacy of the rule of law. We need diverse representation amongst advocates and judges so that all people who become involved in our justice system can be properly heard and fairly engaged with by a system reflective of our broader community. Despite these challenges, there is real scope for change. There is far greater diversity of background amongst junior lawyers than those who have been around for as long as me. You are in a unique position as new lawyers who are entering the profession at a time when more than ever your words and actions are having an impact for good. You are being heard and taken seriously when you agitate to correct injustices, whether it be speaking out about unsustainable working cultures, sexual harassment or bullying within the profession, unfair laws, or systemic failings affecting our society's most vulnerable. I urge you to continue to speak up for these things. They do matter. You are the future of the profession and will steer the direction it will take. As a lawyer, you will also need to make difficult ethical decisions at times. With regard to our personal characteristics, lawyers have been the butt of jokes for centuries. Some would say there are, of course, only a handful of lawyer jokes, the rest are true stories. But jokes aside, you must use the tools you have developed to think critically and not compromise on your fundamental duties to the court, the administration of justice, and other ethical duties you must uphold. Now that you're lawyers, you can get paid to argue instead of just arguing for free. Of course, there is a lot more to it than that. You're an advisor, a problem solver, a mediator, and an advocate for the marginalised. As you go about your day-to-day work, remember that you're not merely dealing with the law in a vacuum as a series of abstract concepts, but law as it applies to people's lives. For this reason, you must strive to deliver legal services competently and fearlessly, with courtesy and integrity. Justice Gageler, before he was a High Court judge, once said, "You must be prepared to give the same answer to the same questions for the same reasons, no matter who asks the question or for what purpose or in what context the asking may occur." That is foundational to upholding the rule of law. For those of you who will practice law, the way you communicate information to others will have profound consequences for access to justice. For a non-lawyer, law is often incomprehensible. One of your roles as a lawyer will be to make law accessible to others, sometimes by deciphering legal complexities, other times by deciphering poor legal drafting, and sometimes both. One thing you will regrettably strike throughout your career is legislation which seems carefully crafted with the object of ensuring that no one can understand it. Your task is not just to understand it, but to explain it clearly to those whose rights and interests are affected by it. As lawyers, we must not keep the law locked up as something knowable only to us. A client reading your advice should be empowered to understand your meaning, not mystified and confused. So be clear and concise in your writing and your speaking. Plain English is powerful. Consider, do I really need to say aforementioned or herewith? Must I sprinkle in that Latin phrase? Should I really use double negatives, tautologies, and wordy clauses that take up a whole page? I would suggest the answer to these questions is almost invariably no. The best advocates make their point simply and succinctly. Now, some of the most experienced lawyers and judges could also use that reminder. You'll see that from a cursory glance at the law reports. But don't pick up their bad habits. I also want to speak about failure. I would not be surprised there are quite a few overachievers and perfectionists watching this live stream today. Even so, at various points of your career, you will make mistakes, some minor, some more serious. When you do make mistakes, your commitment to honesty, integrity, and the administration of justice means that you must take responsibility, correct what you can, and learn from those errors. You must fail at times in order to grow. What is important is that you try not to make the same mistake twice. I myself have made many mistakes over the years, far too many to remember, although my colleagues from time to time delight in reminding me of them. And even as Chief Justice, my decisions have on occasions been overturned by the High Court. When that happens, I simply remind myself through gritted teeth that it's not merely a rumour that the High Court's infallible. Yet sometimes even dissenting judgments become the law. Finally, I want to emphasise that your mental health is extremely important. This may sound unexpected type of ceremony, but the law is not everything. There may be times when you feel overwhelmed, burnt out or distressed. If you do, you should not be afraid to seek professional help or take a step back when you need to. Also remember that the law is a collegiate profession, and in times of difficulty, the support of your peers will prove invaluable. Now, although you might find it hard to believe, I was admitted quite a long time ago. I lost my first case and I lost many more after that. But throughout my 35 years in practice, I could always count on the other barristers in my chambers to share my disappointment at the unfairness of the verdict, the sly tactics of opposing counsel, and most often, I regret to say, the obtuseness of the judge or judges before whom I was appearing. And I hasten to add, I don't include either of my fellow judges on the bench in that comment. But the collegiality was vital to my continued practice. Finally, on behalf of all the judges of the Supreme Court, Can I once again congratulate you on your admission and welcome you to the legal profession. The court will now adjourn.
All stand. This honourable court is now adjourned. God save the Queen.